Good morning, everyone. It's time for Muse Life, and welcome to this morning activation reading, everyone. Let me go ahead and shuffle our cards this morning. Let's settle in and get ready with our reading as we go into some details on our numerology and astrology for today, everybody. So everyone just sit and settle in. I want you all to imagine they are all part of a beautiful, vast, amazing crystalline grid that encompasses the whole of the earth and extends beyond the universe. And I want you to imagine you're all tiny, beautiful lights on that energetic grid. As we move on to reading, everyone, please set your intentions for today. What do you want the universe to let you know? Anything that you're working with, struggling with. And it's an interesting day, guys. It's 6/19. We are in the Sun in Gemini, so the multitasker, the curious and self-expressive sign. So there's a lot of amazing air energy going on with Gemini. Gemini is a pretty fun sign, so if anybody knows any Geminis, you know that it's actually very changeable. There's a lot of expression there, a lot of quick learning. So it's 6/19. It's a 6th day, and 6 is ruled by the planet Venus. So it's all about love and relationships, romance, and there's a lot of loyalty there too, everyone. So as we're setting our intentions for this week, let me know where you're all from, where you're coming from, anything that's going on. There we go. And right now the moon is in Scorpio, everyone. So being a water sign, expect some emotional intensity there, especially with the Scorpio. It's a very selective, determined sign, everyone, passionate, unique, loyal. So today and then the next few hours, kind of soak in some of that Scorpio energy that kind of embodies some of that energy. And one of the things I really picked up on, and I kind of got this from just being out in nature and just kind of like, being in the wildlife, is Scorpio is all about transformation and rebirth, everyone. So if you can imagine, like especially certain animals, they tend to shed their exoskeletons or their skins, or they shed like the snake does, or certain reptiles. Just imagine that transformation and rebirth. Well, the Scorpio does that. So that is actually one of the, I never really thought about it before, one of the kind of the key aspects of the Scorpio is its ability to be transformed every time it's growing. So when we kind of go through our sense of growth, everyone, just imagine you're always kind of slowly shedding some parts of you. You always let go of certain things, out of the old and the new. I mean, we even do it ourselves as human beings. I think it's every 7 years we end up with a brand new body. So I like that. I love the fact that, we kind of like reflect and mirror not only what goes on in nature, but nature tends to reflect back to us. So here, I actually brought out my starseed deck because I was feeling a little bit more like connected to that today. So let's go see where we are, you guys, where we are today, and what is the universe wanting to let us know. So excited about this. So here we go. And it's really interesting. I'm getting a lot of this chameleon, changeable, mutable signs. So here we have, and I think we had this before, you guys. So here we are today. We have the Page of Wands. Right before the knight, just barely embarking on his journey. Wands, and I think we got this a few reads ago, you guys. So the Wands is all about fire. So some of that Leo energy, some of that Aries and Sagittarius energy. And here once again we get this, and I gotta show you a picture of this really cool salamander that I keep, that I visit sometimes. It's a very beautiful animal, and like I said, salamanders, which is pretty much like some of the imagery that you're seeing here, is like the Scorpio. It's also changeable. It also transforms. So here we go. We got a lot of transformation and rebirth just kind of showing up in our signs. Who's transforming and rebirthing right now, or just changing into what we need to become, you guys? So the salamander, it also is able to move from water to land. That's one of the special aspects about it. And when, in the metaphysical world, water is all about the spiritual and the ethereal, and the land is like the earthly things, right? So something that can kind of transmute And that's what we're all talking about, you guys. It's all about transmutation and like being able to flow between the elements, right? So I'm just like wonderful and beautiful in doing that. And I gotta show you this picture. I keep taking pictures of it and thinking I'll post it. It might inspire you guys. Who knows? So here you go. Here we are. We're embarking on our journey, you guys. We're just ready to be some of us have started on some new tasks, some new things, especially with Gemini. This is the perfect time to do it because that air will fuel some of that fire energy that takes us to get excited, everything that we need to like move forward on any projects that we have. There's definitely some new things going on with you guys, new projects, maybe a new job, new, just some new transformative things, because it's definitely going to be transformative, something that's really going to guide you to where you need to go. It's definitely on your path, right? So anybody that's taking on any new projects or just anything new right now, just know you're heading in the right direction, and that, definitely this air and fire energy is really, it's going to help you fuel through that. Something that we've been getting over recently, you guys, or that we're just kind of like dealing with. And I like this, like I said, it's the 6th day. So here we have is the 6 of Pentacles. So this is really like, the number 6 is all about love and, loyalty and relationships, right? And the art of giving. And giving is so important. We're all one, you guys. So when we give to each other, we're really just giving to ourselves as well. But that's not really why we do anything, right? We just really do it just because, the energy in it is so amazing and so wonderful. And some of us have been, and it's important though, when you are giving, that you do it with the right heart, that you don't do it out of like a sense of like obligation, that you don't do it out of a sense of like, when it starts feeling like not so great and you're giving too much of yourself, that's when you kind of have to step back, because you can only really give as much as you have in yourself. So always make sure, and I bet you that's what the card is coming up right now. This is so important that we like just embody this sense of like, humanitarian, especially, that being like very close to the 9 number, right? That humanitarian feel where we give to others, but also that you don't give too much of yourself. So what kind of helps and guides through this, you guys? We've got a lot of earthly energy that we're still working through. I get this right now. We got the 7 of Pentacles. The 7 of Pentacles, which is like a lot of your hard work is paying off, you guys. And maybe that's why you're able to give a little bit more, because you've been putting in the work. We've gotten this card a few times too, where, even though it's like you're waiting for the payout, you've been doing all the hard work. And of course, the number 7 right here, which is ruled by Neptune, right? It's all about like, just really some diplomatic things going on in life, but, the sun is so connected to like the mystic and spirituality. So always remember that too, right? You got the 7 of Pentacles. And so even though you have all this like, material things going on, it's still so connected to the spiritual, meaning you're on the right track. You're doing what you need to be doing. You're putting in the work, but like I said, when you put in the work, it starts to feel like play too. Like I work really hard. Got all hours of the day, you guys. I'm up until 2 in the morning because I have a little guy and I actually, need to get things done. But I swear, I can do it and it feels right because it's what I'm supposed to be doing, right? When you're like doing what you're supposed to do, it feels like play. So here we are, you guys. We're just kind of like, really honing in on what it means to like really give to others and be part of that. Like, just being connected to the whole, because that's what it really is. So we know we're getting a lot of the earthly signs, but that's all about like connection, right? And literally what we're doing here on earth. So we got the time. 2 numbers, 7 and 6. So some Venus and Neptune energy here. Neptune, really all about like being in the subconscious and the dreamy side too, right? Everything that's going on, all the dreams, everything that you really want. Everything's really coming out here with some of that Neptunian energy as you're like, moving towards your goals in life, you guys. And that's going to just really help us embark on a journey. This is really like transformative, but it's really like just getting there, you guys. I know a lot of us are just starting wherever you are in your spiritual journey. You're there, you're embarking on it, you're ready to move forward. You got all what it really takes. Just carry your burdens lightly, everyone. Don't take everything so seriously. Just remember, you got some of that transformative energy going on. And what's to come, you guys? You got some really interesting things going on. what is to come. Here we have the Knight of Cups. I love this because, you know, we start off as a page, right? We always transform. The tarot always has us transforming, moving up, you know, moving on, you know, going into cycles. And this time, you guys, I love this card. This card always reminds me of, like, you know, Arthurian, chasing the Holy Grail type, like, you know, imagery here. I really, you know, like, I really like, you know, the whole medieval period and the romanticism behind it. Not all of it was really romantic though. You know, there was a lot of kind of ruggedness and, you know, barbaric elements to it too. But honestly, if you know, there was a lot of romanticism too, especially with Arthurian legends. So here, I'm moving to, and this always reminds me of, like, embarking on the journey to the Holy Grail. And the Grail, of course, is filled with, you know, it's with the water. This is like more of a water symbol. So here we are, like, in the, you know, Moon in Scorpio. But this can also apply to some of you Pisces out there as well as some of the other water signs. So, but I think more closely with Scorpio, because, you know, Scorpio, here you have is that, you know, someone, you know, wearing the chainmail and everything. So this has a lot more Scorpio energy to me. And as you're moving forward, you know, you got the Knight just chasing this Holy Grail, the chalice, which, you know, it holds water, but water also represents the ethereal, the unseen, the deep depths, emotional things deep down inside, right? So everything that's going on in here, things of the heart, right? Especially with the, you know, the Scorpio, you got a lot of this passionate, like, really, you know, and Scorpio's like psychic as hell, very intelligent energy going on. And that is what we're chasing. We're chasing, you know, not so much a chalice, not so much something made of gold, although it is a treasure, but we're chasing that thing that, you know, that is of value to us, which is in essence that ethereal, soulful, you know, whatever it may be, something that really drives you. Because, you know, all of this is really material, right? You know, yeah, we go through the material things, you guys, and, you know, that we have achievements here and there, and we get what we need to go, you know, we get when we need to get with some of our material things. But, you know, as great as this is, yeah, I'm trying to get these in order, as great as this is, really comes down to, why are we even doing it in the first place? You know, where are we heading towards, and why are we, you know, even doing that? These are the bigger questions, the more, like, you know, higher level questions on top of that. You know, when you start looking at the hierarchy of needs, as you get past the material things, you start getting more into the intellectual, mental, and spiritual things. And this is literally what we're chasing, as we're chasing the Holy Grails. So, you know, after you start embarking on your journey, you start kind of, like, really start chasing the more important things. And those are the big questions, the big whys. And that only you really knows that. You know, I could go ahead and tell you everything you need to know in these readings, you guys, but I'm not really, you know, I'm not meant to do that. I'm not meant to just sit here and tell you how to live your day and tell you how to live your week and tell you, you know, the stars are there. They give you signposts, but they mean everything different to every person. So, you know, what is this? What is your Holy Grail? What is this? What is your chalice? What is that treasure within you that you need to chase and find, right? And I love this. I love the fact that it's the Night, we're moving forward, we're elevating, we're definitely transforming. And you're definitely getting some of that, you know, Scorpio energy, you know, they're very protective and loyal and determined. So, you know, when you think about the Knight, that's exactly, you know, kind of like some of those attributes, the chivalrous attributes that you're getting. And what is helping to guide this? And you guys, this is the air sign right now. We got the Sun in Gemini, and, you know, it's all about mind and intellect. And here we go. We get these cards every now and then. I swear I shuffle them, but we're still coming back. Here we go. Something I think is going to be aiding in this, because, you know, we're not always fighting up on a horse, you guys. We're not always in our best place, right? Sometimes we're, like, on ground zero, or on the ground, or in the earthly realm, right? Fighting in earth and air. So this is definitely a lot of air sign, but there's some earth elements there too. And here you got is the Page of Swords this time. So embarking on your journey, but through your mind and intellect, right? So now you're really starting to think, you're really starting to like understand everything around you and how it relates to where you need to go, as you chase that chalice. Like, we're constantly fighting this mental battle with ourselves and then with the world, up in the air and down here, you guys. There's just like constantly this mental battle going on. I mean, how intense that battle is really up to you and how you want to fight it, but always constantly like putting yourself in check, right? Like when these things go in your mind that don't have anything to do with where you need to go on your journey, when these things come up and people say things to you, you got to call it out. I'm in this point where I'm just definitely calling people out nowadays for every little thing, like every little word that they say. I'm like, well, what did you mean when you said that? And like, how did you mean that? Because words, like you guys, I'm telling you, have power. And that's why they're used in spells and prayers and to manifest, because they absolutely have power. And if you just let every little thing slide, now I don't know. Some people just don't necessarily want to rock the boat a little bit. You can choose mentally maybe to just reject things, but sometimes things just need to be kind of said out loud too when there's certain things that aren't necessarily, just didn't even really need to be said. Or that's almost like you, because like we're all mirrors, right? Well, it's almost like you talking back and letting people know, well, how am I wanting to talk to myself? How do I want to present myself? And all that goody stuff, right? Because you know what? This is like food for thought. This is what's going in your head, how you're observing it. And this is like kind of like the ingredients for your journey. So really, you're going to be like putting crap in your stuff, or you clean it out, put the right things in so you can move forward to where you need to go, right? Wherever that is, you guys. It's not my business what you do or how you choose to like navigate on your journey. But there is ways that you can do it where you're doing it so you're in alignment with who you are and where you need to be, right? I love the story. Very kind of like transformative. This is, especially, you're getting that Scorpio energy. So yeah, we're all talking about transformation right now and really like tapping into your psyche, going from the earthly things to some of the more purposeful, soul guiding things. Kind of like that. Okay. This is a little bit messy today, you guys. So I picked from my beautiful Starseed deck, you guys. And I love this. So this Starseed says your life is a canvas, right? You're the artist. You're the artist. You're the manifester. It's all about being creative and accountability. And we were just talking about that. Universe wants you to be accountable for everything. The choices that you make, the words that come out of your mouth, the direction that you do, the choices that you make. And of course everything has a purpose. So even the things that don't necessarily go right, you guys, because you can sit there and feel sorry for yourself when you're like made a really shitty decision. Whoop! I don't normally curse, but if you make a really crappy decision and it doesn't always necessarily work out for you, well, here, take accountability for that. But also remember, everything has a purpose. So even the things that didn't necessarily work out right, it all is in part of this divine plan, right? But you are the artist. You are the manifester. So when things aren't going the right way, or when you just don't think you're going in the right direction, figure out a way to make yourself go in the direction you need to go. Where you make the decisions that head towards where you need to be going and what you need to be doing in life, you guys. I love this. Look at how beautiful this is. A person just kind of standing out in the wide open, looking towards its future and everything that's meant to be theirs. Right? I love this. Your life is your own canvas. This is your own canvas. If we're going to be here on this earth manifesting and, creating, then let's do it the best possible way you can. You start I love Gemini because it's really really honing in on some of that creative energy, and especially, God, like the Scorpio energy is all about finding yourself, going deep down in the nitty gritty and really finding out who you are and what really makes you tick. I love this, you guys. Love all this energy today. I love sharing this with you guys. Thank you so much for coming out. We got some really cool events going on. I've been working really hard this last few months. We were doing events once a month now. I took a break from it for a while because of my son, but you know, we're just kind of like heading more to that direction. So we'll be live for you to come out to do a live reading. You can always visit me in my shop. I post that sometimes to you guys. I want to thank you all for coming out and sharing this beautiful, wonderful energy from with me and this collective, right? So as we just sign out, I want to all thank you for coming out. You guys all have an amazing one. We will probably just do our full moon reading first. It's coming up a little sooner than just my normal reading. So whether or not I skip my normal readings, I'll figure that out, because you know I still like to do them. But the full moon is coming up, so we will definitely, do a full moon reading and get some of that full moon energy, guys, so we can learn how to kind of utilize that and alchemize that for all of us for the better good. So you guys all have an amazing one. Love and light. Bye-bye.